Yo, what is good people, it's Wodzu here, and today I would like to show you how to arrange your beats in REAPER. The process itself is pretty simple, it's not really complicated, but I would also like to show you some of my tips and tricks for arranging beats for rappers and other artists. If you don't know me, my name is Dominik, but they call me Wodzu, and I'm making beats in REAPER. So keep in mind that the beat we will be arranging today will have an actual artist on top of it, so it's not meant to be just an instrumental. Without any further ado, let's get to the grind. Okay, so here's my beat collaboration with a producer from Serbia. Shout out to Unknown She. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, so sorry if I'm wrong. And here is how the main loop sounds like. The beat is not fully mixed yet, and this is the main theme, the main loop of the beat. And this will be our starting point for the whole arrangement. When making beats, I just like to make a really complicated loop with lots of things, lots of layers, and then I can choose some things I want from it. So now I will treat this loop right here, this full loop, as the chorus. And as you can already see, I've already started the beat with some empty loops without any drums, any cymbals. And here is the first thing. If you are making beats, try to start your beat, the main sequence, in the first 30 seconds, let's say, of the beat. The thing is that artists usually don't really like when the beat is starting for like 2 minutes. The approach towards the beginnings of the beat is pretty straightforward, so just start it as soon as you can, not like immediately. Make a build-up, make something that builds the tension, builds, you know, the interest about what's going to happen next, and then start the beat with the chorus, the most interesting part, or with the verse if the beat is not going to start with the chorus. I will start this beat with the chorus, so I will leave it as it is, but I want to change some things in the intro. First of all, I need another cymbal in the middle of this intro, with those delayed kind of reflections. And at the moment, when we are switching from the intro to the chorus, I would like to put a riser. So for this purpose, I'll just browse through some risers I have in my sample packs. So here's a riser and it sounds like that. It's pretty aggressive, so I don't really like that part. So I'll make it shorter. Then I'll just move it right here. So the length of this transition will be 1 bar only. And then while holding Alt key on my keyboard, I'm just stretching it so it's shorter. And now it sounds like that. And as you can hear, it ends really unexpectedly. It has a really aggressive ending. So I'm turning off the snap, and I'm making it a little longer, and I'm making a smooth fade right here. And while holding the Control key on my keyboard and clicking the left button on my mouse, I'm changing the fade at the end of this sample. And now it sounds like that. And it has a much smoother ending. Let's have a listen. Cool. I remember the moment when I discovered risers and other cool effects I could put in my beats back in like 2016, 2017, as I was starting to make beats more seriously, and it was like a game changer to me. You don't really need to make your own risers. There's a bunch of free samples out on the internet. Personally, I'm just using the free packs from Cymatics, and that's enough for me. We can also throw this riser into a huge sounding reverb, for example, the TC tail reverb I have right here, so it has this reverbed kind of sound. Now I'm going to select the whole chorus like that with all the stuff I have in this loop, and I'm copying and pasting it 2 times. So first of all, I'm getting rid of the violin, because that's the thing I like to have in the chorus. It's just like a lead sound, and it's just too direct to be in the verse. The next thing I'm going to delete are those backing cymbals, because I didn't really need them here. This part is focused on the lyrics, on the artist, on the rapper, so he or she needs the place to be here. I'm also going to delete this right symbol. It sounds like that because you probably haven't heard it properly. It's just this like jazzy, swingy kind of ride I've written. The last thing I'm going to delete is the hi-hat pattern in the first half of the verse. So the first half of the verse doesn't have any hi-hats. Sorry, I've lied to you. The last thing I'm going to delete are those lower claps, because we don't really need them. So now here's how the transition between the chorus and the verse sounds like. And it immediately goes smoother, and it's just way less complicated than the chorus. And one thing I forgot to mention, the verse doesn't have the bass. The bass was left right here. So I'm going to copy the bass and I'm going to paste it in the second part of our verse. So the first part is like totally simple, and the second part just has this deeper kind of feeling. And here is how the transition between those sounds like. Cool, perfect. So we could call it a day, but I like to change a few more minor things. And in this case, deleting things is adding things, if you know what I mean. Just have a look. One thing I really like to do is I like to take out the first kicks from the pattern as the verse starts. So in this case, we have those two kicks right here, and I'm just going to delete those. So the verse starts without any kicks. And now you have those kicks. And we don't really need those cymbals, to be honest. And we can use the same tactic as the hi-hat pattern starts right here. So what we can do, we can start the hi-hat pattern with the first snare in this pattern. So what I'm going to do, I'm just starting this pattern right here with this snare right here. And it sounds like that. Perfect. Okay, but it's still the same hi-hat pattern we have in the chorus. So if you don't really like that, let's just go back to the full pattern. And now I'm going to hold the Alt key on my keyboard, so we'll be stretching this hi-hat pattern, and let's make it 2 times longer. So now it's 2 times slower, and it sounds like that. And that way you can just stretch and slow down any pattern you have. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the chorus with the verse we've just made, and I'm going to copy it. And now I'm just simply pasting everything once more. And now we can focus on the transition between the ending of the first verse and the beginning of the second chorus. So the first thing I'm usually doing is I'm selecting all of the drums along with the bass line, and I'm making it a little shorter, so I have this one empty bar at the end of the verse. And it sounds like that. In this case, I want this to be a little more interesting, so for example, I can leave the pad as it is. Cool, sounds pretty good. Maybe let's try to add the snare back. Good idea. And the last thing we can add is a filter transition on the samples right here. So I'm going to open the instrument bus and I'm going to insert ReaEQ on the instrument bus. Here goes the ReaEQ, and I'm going to use the low pass filter. Here I'm going to select our band. So we are clicking this 4-3 key right here. And now I can make filter transitions, which will sound like that. Okay, so let's focus on this area right here. And let's just make a simple filter transition. I'm going to hold the Shift key on my keyboard so I can place the automation points directly on the grid. So the first point right here, the second point right here, third point, fourth point, and here goes the fifth point. And let's just make the filter close. So let's add more points. So we have this kind of sawtooth kind of shape, and it sounds like that. Okay, now as we have this selected on the ruler, I'm going to click the right button of my mouse right here. I'm going to automation items, and I'm going to insert new automation item. And here goes my automation item. Now I'm copying it with Ctrl+C, and I'm making it shorter, so it's not as long as it was, and I'm pasting it right here. And now, while holding the Alt key, I'm stretching the second part, so it's twice as fast. And now the whole transition sounds like that. So we have this down, 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 down. And here is how it looks like in the ReaEQ. We could also copy the riser from the beginning of the beat and we could place it right here. Okay, so here comes the second part of the beat. There is the chorus and we have the same verse we've copied from the first part. So this area is the same as this area. So we need to change it a little bit in order to make this beat a little more interesting so it doesn't sound the same all over the place. My general tactic for the second verse is that I like to make it a little more intense than the first verse. So in this case, I'm going to leave the bass line through the whole verse as it is, so we have the bass all over the place. I'm going to leave the trick with the kick as it is, so we don't have two of the first kick hits. And this time I'm going to copy the hi-hat pattern and I'm going to start it a little bit earlier. So it starts one bar before the second part of the verse hits. Cool. Now we need to make the second transition and we can just copy the transition we've made before, or we can make a few minor changes. In this case, I will make it a little different. So I'm leaving the pad as we did in the first transition. I'm going to leave the snare as it is. Here goes the snare. I don't know what about the hi-hat. No hi-hat. But this time, let's give the kick a chance. And maybe let's not use the filter transition we've made this time. Let's just leave it as it is. And I've pasted the riser we've used. And now the choice is yours. You can end the beat with another additional chorus, and you can add an extra element to the chorus so it's not sounding the same as the previous choruses. You can just copy and paste the instruments you've used and just turn off the instruments as the beat is coming to an end. But as we've already made the riser, which is telling the listener that something is going to happen, let's just make one last chorus pattern. So I'm going to copy and paste the chorus pattern once again. And the last chorus will be twice as long as the usual chorus. And at the very end, I just want the samples I've got from Unknown She playing, and that's pretty much it. So the beat ends like that. But now the ending starts like immediately. The last tiny thing we could add is this tiny symbol right here, so we have the ending with the symbol. Perfect. And now let's just delete this sample right here. Perfect. Let's make a small fade right here. And the last thing I'm going to do in this arrangement is I'm going to use my pseudo master track, which I have at the very top of the session. And here I have the ReaEQ already loaded with the low pass filter already turned on. And I'm going to close it with the filter. So I'm making 2 points. And I'm going to make this a little smoother so it's not linear. And in order to change this curve on this envelope right here, I'm going to hold the Alt key we've used for stretching, but in this case on the automation lane, it's just changing the shape of the automation. So let's make it more parabolic, let's say. Okay. And here is how the full arrangement looks like. I'm not going to play the whole beat because we don't have enough time for that. If you are interested in listening to my beats, you can check them on my website as well as on my secondary channel with beats. The link to the secondary channel is on my main channel as you enter the channel. I don't have a rule that all of my beats have to be under 3 minutes, because that would be really stupid, because some of the slower beats can be over 3 minutes. But in general, if you are selling beats, if you are aiming for someone to be on your beat, you have to keep in mind that writing lyrics for a 4 or 5 minute song is a pretty hard task, in my opinion. And getting back to the attention span in the modern days, unfortunately, people don't really like to listen to long songs that much as they used to before. I'm mostly talking about popular music. I know some beautiful pieces of music that have like half an hour, and that's just the one song. But I'm mostly thinking about trap music, modern rap music, and stuff. So that's pretty much it for today, guys. I hope you liked this episode. I hope you found this video useful. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel with all the notifications so you won't miss any of the new upcoming videos. My name is Dominik, you've been watching Wodzu Beats, and keep the good vibes alive.